This is a Looking Glass Go. The MSRP on this device is $300. I got it for $200 because I supported their Kickstarter with the early access. But then I added a little extra money to upgrade to the clear color so you can see the components inside. So this is the shipping box. They had a little bit of tape around it, but they basically just shipped this box to me. And we have a shrink wrap retail package. It says Looking Glass Go Clear. All right, pushed out the sleeve. There is an opening with stickers, flashy stickers. Looks like a quick start guide. And then the device itself, which fits pretty snugly into the top of the box there. Underneath the device, there's another box, which I assume has accessories in it. All right, we have a Looking Glass branded USB-C power block. All right, so this power block is USB-C power delivery. It's a 20 watt max. It only goes up to 12 volts, so not a super large power draw here. And they include a very hefty looking USB-C cable. So it's labeled 20 gigabits per second. It has the Looking Glass logo on it, and one side is a right angle connector. All right, so on the device itself, we have the power on button here. There's a little hole there. I don't know what that is. It might be a reset hole. It might be a microphone. There's a forward, a play, pause, and a backwards button. There's a 3.5 millimeter jack. It's labeled for speaker. There's a USB-A port here, which I also don't know exactly what it is. And then this is the USB-C, the main power and data connection port here. So on the back, they have a little bit of information. It does say that the input is 5 volts at 3 amps, and it says output 5 volts at half an amp. So that guy there might be for a USB stick or powering an accessory. And so it looks like all you would need is a 5 volt power bank that can do 15 watts to power this guy. So it doesn't necessarily need 9 or 12 volts power delivery, it looks like, according to the back here. Now, the front comes with a protective cover, and the barcode or the QR code on that protective cover is the same as this QR code here on this quick start guide. Now, this is a folding mechanism, and so it has the main electronics on the back, and then the screen here can be up at, it's almost a full 90-degree angle there, and then you can adjust it for whatever viewing you like. Now, I've purchased the clear version, and so I can kind of see the circuit board inside there and kind of see what's inside there. It's not so much interesting on the back of the screen here, but you know, you can kind of look and see the circuit board. It's a little bit frosted, so it's not perfectly clear, but you can get an appearance of what's in there. The default version of this, I believe, just has a white case. All right, so we've plugged this guy in to power. And the light here lit up to let us know that, hey, it has power. I'm going to tilt this up a little bit and hit the power button. And it is now flashing, so it's doing a boot up sequence, I believe. This is a pre-built playlist, I believe. And so you can kind of get a feel for the 3D nature of the display if I rotate the display for you. So how this works is there's a lenticular that splits up the display screen here into views for different viewpoints. And so each eye gets a different viewpoint, and so you get a depth effect with that. On a camera, you know, with the 2D camera, you basically only have one viewpoint, so you can see the different viewpoints as I rotate it back and forth. And you can see, you know, things in the foreground, the parallax changes differently from things in the background. So I can stop the playlist, I can jump through the items. Now the field of view is starting to be limited, because it has a certain number of displays. So I think it's about a 60-degree field of view is what they said on the specifications there for optimal field of view. So if you have a powerful enough computer to render things on the fly, you can plug this guy into your computer and run some applications on the computer that will display on this guy. So for example, this is called Lightform. Hello, what's your name?
Hey bestie, I'm Little Anu. Obsessed with fashion and tech. I'm like if folk in Silicon Valley had a fabulous baby.
What music do you listen to?
Oh, just the sound of my existential crisis on shuffle.
If I wanted to multiply 500 by 38, what would be the answer?
The answer is 19,000, but like, who's counting?
What do you think about the Looking Glass Go product?
Oh, it's like if my selfie game met the Matrix and had a glow up. Obsessed.
So with it attached to a computer, you can play animations. I don't know if the standalone mode will play animations or not. Alright, so going to the QR code gives you links to download the iOS app or the Android app for Looking Glass Go. It's a 33 megabyte app on the Google Play Store. Alright, the app says upload your photos and Looking Glass will sync them to your Go. Get started. You need to create a Looking Glass account. So I already had an account from my previous Looking Glass device. It says turn your power on your device. And then you can pair it. Alright, so to pair it, you push the forward button for 5 seconds. Alright, I'm not getting any indication here that it's going into a pairing mode. I'm not getting any visual indicator. The white light is solid and it's just sitting there. So I'm not getting any visual indicator. I'm going to hit the button device is ready to pair and see what happens. I need to allow my phone to access positions of nearby devices. It's searching for the device. It found the device, so apparently there's no visual indicator on the screen that it's in pairing mode, but it is in pairing mode. I'm going to hit connect, and it is connecting to my device. And it says connected via Bluetooth, so now we know we're connected. And then we have to choose a Wi-Fi network. Now my primary network is not listed here. I have both a 2.4 and a 5G version of that network, but for some reason it's not listed, so my Go did not detect them. I'm going to hit the don't see your network and see what it does. It says add network, so I have to add the SSID. They only support 2.4 gigahertz. Alright, I told it to connect to my Wi-Fi network. It says connecting. We'll see if it finds it when I specify the SSID. Okay, it looks like it found it. It's activating it. It's probably going to do a firmware update if it needs one. So my phone says it's updating the firmware. Your Go will power off and restart after the update has been applied. Do not turn it off. So currently it's at version 1.0.0. It's downloading over the Wi-Fi and updating it. Okay, so the whole procedure there took about 7 minutes, but it looks like we're ready to continue on. So I can convert any image into a hologram. All right, so there's still a little waiting icon here. There seems to be, oh, now it says syncing. So I think it is trying to sync my photo to this guy here. We're getting a thing going on here with, you know, some bars going around this box. So I think it's downloading the data over Wi-Fi to this guy here. And now the phone app says synced. Although I think the phone app might report when it's synced to the back end, and then this guy is still working to get the actual data. All right, so we have my image, Arn, the Looking Glass Glow. It does have a 3D appearance. It's not as fancy as the 3D appearance of their carefully chosen demo reel, but you can definitely tell that, hey, this stuff in the background's in the background, this stuff's in the foreground, that's kind of mid-level. And so it definitely has a 3D appearance to it. It's kind of more of a 2.5D because, you know, it's different depth levels, but it's not fully look around behind things. Like the people on the boat look like a flat cutout that's halfway in the area. And that's just because it's not a true light field image. It's just a image with a depth field applied to it. It does a pretty good job, especially because this image has a depth map that's just automatically generated. Now, when I did that, I apparently lost the entire demo reel, which is unfortunate because I like the demo reel, but at this point I have one photo. So I've put my phone's camera into portrait mode, and I'm going to take a picture here of these three objects, and they have a definite depth. And in portrait mode, my phone's camera captures an actual depth map. So my goal here is that I will be able to upload this photo that has a depth map already in it, and hopefully that depth map might be better than the AI generated one. It might also be possible that it'll go faster because it doesn't, strictly speaking, have to do AI generation, although it does seem like it's doing the dotty things that are flipping back and forth here still. So it might be trying to generate multiple viewports. I also noticed my display here is loading something. I haven't actually said to upload this or focus it or pick it yet, so I don't know exactly what that guy's loading. All right, so there's the picture. You can select the depth here, and you can also zoom it. Because this was a portrait layout, I don't need to zoom too much to get like that. And you can pick what's in focus. You can say focus on that, or focus on that. And you can kind of see there's different depth levels. This is orange, that there's kind of green, and that there's kind of blue. I think there's kind of 3 levels of depth here. So I'm going to just say, well, focus on this thing here. And you can pick where the focus is by sliding this back and forth. So we're going to focus in that area there. And now it is waiting, and then eventually I'm assuming it's going to be syncing. All right, so now it says syncing and it says synced, but this guy's still going. So I'm almost certain that everything you do goes from your phone app up to their servers and then from their servers back down to this guy. I don't think it's going directly across because it seems like the phone gets done and then this guy starts to process. It's kind of slow. It's not an instant gratification thing. That wasn't too bad there. So yes, this looks very nice. And now I'm cycling through the two ones. So this guy here with the depth map from my phone, especially because I have 3 objects with a very clear foreground, midground, and background, looks very good. And it gives me the appearance of being able to look behind this guy at that guy there, and I don't know if it's auto-generating that or not. There looks like there's an artifact in the back here, so I think it might have done some AI auto-generating fill-in to fill in the material there. But it definitely has a 3D appearance, and you can see those objects kind of shift and parallax as I rotate this around. So it's doing a pretty good job there with the depth map portrait mode from my phone. All right, so in addition to the photo uploads, there's a settings button. You can update the Wi-Fi or you can connect another device. So there's not a lot of settings there. There's manage holograms on blocks. So I have a couple of holograms already set up on blocks, but I need to log into that separately. So Blocks is now wanting to access my Looking Glass account, and they're both by the same Looking Glass factory people, so I'm going to accept that. I believe they used to be separate accounts, but they might having them linked together now. So now I'm welcome to Blocks. So here are some of my blocks that I already have. So, you know, here is a block that I've already made with the Looking Glass portrait. I can say add to playlist, and it says go playlist, so I can add it to that. And I've added the hologram to the playlist. So I don't know if that will automatically put this on my Looking Glass block, or Looking Glass Go or not. Oh, it looks like it, well, it's maybe doing something there. Okay, I think it is downloading it now onto my Looking Glass Go. So it looks like if you have existing blocks on their block website, you can add it to the playlist for this guy. Yeah, there it is. So this guy here was a true light field capture. I moved a video camera across the screen and captured viewpoints from different places. Let me go back. And it is displaying pretty darn well here, so it's definitely displaying just as good as when I had it on the portrait. So this is the Looking Glass portrait, which is about a 3-year-old display. And so the screen size is slightly larger, but the resolution is about the same on these two. So the specs are slightly different, but basically the actual resolution of the panels inside here is about the same for these two different devices. All right, so this guy here used to be $300. Now it's dropped down to $199 in price. So a couple of differences. This guy has a clip-on bottom piece that is not adjustable in height. It's certainly a lot bulkier size-wise, on your desk. The biggest difference, I think, is that the screen's a little bit bigger physically, and to use it on a tool like Blender or something, you need an HDMI port and a USB-C port. So right now the USB-C port is powering it, but if you want to do videos or things, like if you're 3D editing and you want to have a 3D viewport into that world, you need an HDMI display as well as the USB display here. Weight-wise, it's also heavier. So this guy does the video cable over the USB-C port. And I think the display is also a little bit brighter. Now, many of the images over on this guy are things that I generated, which are not as 3D popping as some of the, the demo reel that they've put on this guy here. So this guy can do just as much depth as this guy over here. My initial thoughts seeing them side by side is that this guy's a little bit dimmer. The display there is 3-4 years older. So, this guy here has a newer display. I think it's a little bit brighter. So if you're buying a new one, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. This guy's going to win in price. I personally like this a little bit better. If you're putting it on your desk or having to carry around, it's a lot smaller. You can also buy a battery pack that will fit this guy so it can work unattended, or like I'm doing now, you can just run off of any USB battery pack that'll put out 15 watts. So this guy has capacitive touch sensitive buttons, and they work just fine as long as the power supply is strong. If you get a weak power supply, the capacitive buttons sometimes don't work super well. This guy here has physical buttons, and you can definitely click them, and you basically can feel the click, so you get a little more feedback than just a light turning on the button. This guy here looks more like a digital photo frame. You can hang it on your wall. It has a wall hanging hooks there. And basically, if you're setting it out as a digital photo frame for standalone use, you might prefer this guy. I believe they're going to make some frames you can snap on the outside of this to make it look a little more like a desktop photo frame.